Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday. Happy Monday. Happy new week. This is the day where we talk about coaching skills. And so we're going to be exploring coaching skills today. But before we get rolling on that, I have a couple of announcements for you. You will see on this page in this group an invitation to register for a 7-day Quantum Human Design Coach Challenge. So starting next Monday at noon Eastern Time, 11 Central Time, 10 Mountain Time, 9 Pacific Time, we're going to be meeting here every day, and we're going to be talking about different coaching topics, but I'm going to walk you through some really specific lessons that are going to really help you understand how do you integrate quantum human design with your coaching practice. So on day one, we're going to be exploring the nature and the science of alignment and why bringing your clients into alignment is so important. On day two, we're going to be talking about what stops you, what stops your clients, and how you can coach your clients to be more resilient so that they've got a skill set of resilience based on their human design chart. In day three, we're going to be looking at the coaching models, how to construct a coaching model with your own unique coaching practice or background, or if you're looking for a different way to rethink your coaching practice, we're going to talk about coaching models and how to integrate human design into your coaching model so that it becomes a coachable tool. On day four next week, we're going to actually go through all the parts of the chart. So we're going to look at type and the lines of the profiles and the centers and the gates and the circuits and the channels. And we're going to be looking at how do you look at the chart through the lens of what does the chart tell you about motivation, drive, what keeps your clients grounded, what do they need to make good effective decisions, what is there, what else do they need in the way of coaching to really stabilize their chart, their expression of their chart, and how they can really bring out the best of who they are. So on day 5, we're going to have hot seat coaching. So if you want to get your chart read, we're going to do laser coaching sessions. We're going to read charts. We're going to look at charts. We're going to do coaching with the charts. On day 6, we have some great Q&A sessions. We'll have a couple of Q&A sessions. This whole week's going to be taught by me and my senior staff. And then on the last day, I have a surprise bonus for you. But I'll tell you what the topic's about. We're going to be talking about integrity and leadership and what that looks like through the lens of human design, and how you can help people bring themselves into integrity and how that helps them step into their power, their leadership role, and how that affects you as a coach and what you can do to step into your power and your leadership role. So to register for the 7-day link, click on the link that Cindy's posting below. So just enter your information. If I have your information, I'll be able to send you a workbook. You're going to get a PDF fillable workbook so you can follow along with the lessons and make sure that you're getting the most out of this program that we've created for you. So I'm excited to share it with you. Okay, I started last week talking about actionable steps, and we talked about how sometimes it's not the time to take an actionable step, because sometimes if your client is burned out or struggling with their self-worth, that those two factors, struggling with your self-worth or being burned out because you're struggling with your self-worth, that those two factors can lead to depletion and can lead to procrastination, avoidance, not following through, not doing all those things we want our clients to do, but they don't. So we looked at what do we need to do first if our clients aren't following through with actions. Today, I want to continue with our conversation about actionable steps, because it's tricky, right? When we have 5 different types, each type has a different quality of energy, a different way of interfacing, if you will, with the quantum field. Each type has a different way of initiating action into the world. Most everyone has to wait in some way, shape, or form, right? Including manifestors in our initiator types have to wait for internal alignment. The generators and the projectors have to wait for external alignment, and of course the reflector has to wait for lunar alignment. All of these are factors that influence time and timing, and what to do and how we go about initiating action. So people say to me things like, well, how do I market if I'm not getting something to respond to? Or how do I run my business purely by response? And I think the piece that we sometimes have to remember is that when we look at the nature of business and the nature of coaching and the nature of life, and we don't like this. I don't think we like this, but it's true. Life, business, etc. has seasons. We talked a little bit about that last week. Let's bring ourselves back to remembering this. Your business, your coaching practice, your clients' businesses, your clients' lives are going to have seasons. They're going to have cycles of growth. They're going to have cycles of foundation laying. They're going to have cycles of preparation. They're going to have cycles of emergence. They're going to have cycles of construction. They're going to have cycles of expansion. And then they're probably going to have cycles of rest and respite. And then the process begins again. And, when we don't recognize and we don't work with those cycles, those seasons of life, sometimes we're working against ourselves. If we're generator types or we're projector types and we're waiting for invitations or recognitions because we're not honoring the cycle that we're in, we get frustrated or we get bitter and we think, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. This is a mythology in human design I think is kind of funny. There's this interesting sort of culture sometimes in human design that's sort of like, there's nothing I can do. I just have to sit here and wait. Well, first of all, let me just say, waiting itself is an art form. And as I said last week, sometimes that waiting is about nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, building up your energy, preparing yourself for the next season. Sometimes that waiting is a time for healing, a time for looking at what maybe you need to do to amp up your value, amp up your self-worth, amp up your lovability. So that aspect of waiting isn't just sitting and waiting. It's actually a very active phase, right? If you're actively resting, because that's a preparation cycle, or if you're actively healing, because that's part of your preparation cycle, that's action. And I don't know why sometimes we discount that as action. There are the second kind of group of activities that we discount that are part of action is preparing the way. When you have, and preparing the way can be work, literally physically doing what you need to do to prepare the way. And sometimes preparing the way, and this is the first place I want to think about starting, sometimes preparing the way is getting the energy ready, right? We have to prepare the energetic matrix, if you will, within which we're going to be creating. If you go back to what we've been talking about, particularly on Thursdays when we've been looking at coaching and how to apply quantum human design to different coaching topics. And when I broke down for you guys the themes of how we manifest, how we create, how we attract into our experience the next right opportunity, the next right whatever, it all starts first with a mindset, right? The thoughts, allowing yourself to cultivate through questioning and exploration and contemplation and curiosity and daydreaming and imagining, allowing you to use your mind as a tool to dream, and then to allow your dream to then convert into emotional energy, and then to let that emotional energy calibrate the heart. So sometimes the action step is really focusing on thinking and exploring and dreaming and imagining and cultivating consciously an energetic emotional alignment with positive expectation. That doesn't sound like action in the traditional way that we define as action, but sometimes the action is building the emotional energy, building the frequency of energy necessary. And that means doing all those things that we know to do from the science of deliberate creation, right? Is daydreaming, making a mind map, making vision boards, making a mind movie, all those things, actively investigating the possibilities of whatever it is that your clients are dreaming about. Maybe that means, this is one of my favorite stories from one of my clients. I had this amazing client who was just like super youthful and really he was like, he had this childlike beautiful energy. And one of the things that he decided he wanted to go to Hawaii, right? That was his dream. So we worked on, okay, how can you get to Hawaii? And of course, he didn't have the money at the time. He didn't have the opportunity to take time off to go to Hawaii. But before he even knew what to do, every Sunday morning, this was his routine for several months. Every Sunday morning, he would go get himself a really nice coffee and a croissant and pack a bag. He'd pack his suitcase, literally, and he'd take himself to the airport, and he'd stand in line at the airport pretending, if you will, that he was getting ready to get on a plane to go to Hawaii. That was action. That was energetically preparing the way. And sometimes when we coach our clients, especially when we're coaching our clients that have to wait, that's all clients, when we're coaching our clients that have to wait, we got to give them something to do while they're waiting that's productive, that's going to support them in building the energetic structure for whatever it is they're seeking to create next. So action sometimes isn't going to be doing. It's going to be playing with the imaginary parts of the creative self. It's going to be exploring ways to harness emotional energy and intention into a vibrational frequency, if you will, that then begins to pull into your client's experience the tangible physical things, the things to respond to the invitations, the internal alignment, the lunar alignment that come after you've created the energetic structure. That's one piece. Sometimes the other part of that is actually doing the work of building the foundation. You know, how many times have you coached people who have a vision for, let's say, this is a big one because I have a publishing company, so this is a huge one. Do you know how many people come to me and say, I have a vision. I'm going to be a New York Times bestselling author. And I'm like, okay, great, awesome. Send me your manuscript. And they're like, oh, well, I haven't written the book yet. I'm like, okay, cool. What's your writing plan? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to write about. And then usually they disappear, right? They don't come back. But the reality of the situation is if you have a vision, if you have a client that you're coaching to becoming a New York Times bestselling author, they have to have a book. Now, there are lots of ways to write a book, by the way, without actually writing a book. So you don't have to write the book yourself necessarily, but you still have to have a book. You can't have a New York Times bestselling book without a book. So you either got to get a ghostwriter, or you've got to dictate it and have somebody transcribe it, or you got to get yourself organized and write the book. But that's the foundation playing part, right? That's the foundational piece of preparing the way for the dream. So sometimes that action step is looking at what do we need to work on to build the foundation while we're waiting. And all types can do this, by the way. You don't have to wait for an invitation to write that book. You don't have to wait for an invitation to build the website. You don't have to wait for something to respond to name your business, to file for an LLC, to get a logo. You don't need to wait for someone to give you something to respond to clean up your diet so that you feel better. You know, all of those foundational pieces, those are actionable pieces, but sometimes we discount those because we don't value, I think sometimes in our culture, because we're so into the doing piece, we don't value the foundational piece enough. Every type that has waiting involved in it, that's every type. Every type can set the stage by, in that exploration around what's the next thing I want to do, by building the foundation. Sometimes that foundation, especially if you're working with a first line profile, that foundation is going to be investigating and learning. That's a huge, huge piece of it, right? If you think about human design. If you want to use human design in your practice, you can't just say, okay, I'm using human design now. You have to learn it first, right? So that studying and that learning and that integrating and that practicing giving readings and working with someone who's going to mentor you into giving artful, synthesized, relevant readings to your clients, that's part of the foundation laying piece. And we got to coach people into those actionable steps of building the foundation of whatever it is your clients are wanting to create. So you've got learning can sometimes be part of it. Building the platform can be part of it. The bottom line is this. You want to coach your clients into being ready for when the invitation or the recognition comes, for when the thing to respond to comes. A long time ago, more long than I want to share, I studied I was a parent coach, and I taught, I was a parent educator. And I used to teach a parenting class called Redirecting Children's Behavior, which is just a fantastic program. I do believe it's still available today if you are a parent and you want to learn more about being a good parent. Redirecting Children's Behavior is a phenomenal program. It was run by an organization called the International Network for Children and Families. This program, I literally can't tell you how pivotal and transformational this program was. It made me a better parent, for sure. It changed the whole script of my parenting. This program was so powerful that it got a lot of really important recognition. Jack Canfield saw it, Oprah saw it, and immediately recognized it as a really valuable program. And the owner of the company was invited by Oprah. You hear this, right? This is like everybody's dream, right? She was invited by Oprah to be on the Oprah show and talk about her parenting course that she was teaching. And she turned the invitation down. And she turned the invitation down because her organization wasn't ready. She didn't have she didn't have enough people trained. She didn't have enough bandwidth to handle the response that she was going to get. She wasn't ready for the invitation. When we coach our clients, we have to have them ready for whatever it is that they're hoping they're going to get to respond to, or whatever it is they're going to get to be invited into. And we neglect sometimes that readiness phase. If you coach your clients to be ready for whatever it is they're wanting to create, to be invited into, to be recognized for, to initiate, if you coach them into taking the actions to prepare the way, to be ready, to set the stage, not only are they, of course, ready when the invitation comes, or the recognition comes, or the thing to respond to comes, it actually also influences time and timing. Because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows that if you're not ready, why are they going to send you an opportunity, right? How is that going to make sense? The universe is like, oh, you're not ready yet. Okay, that's fine. We can wait. We got time, all right? So that not being ready actually makes time stall out. It makes things take longer. So that readiness piece is one of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 things we can do, 8 things we can do. It's coded, actually 9 things we can do. It's coded in the root center. 9 codes from the root center that we can explore that help us influence time and timing. And one of the things we can do to influence time and timing is to be ready. That's in the 5432, by the way, if you're wondering. Where is that in the chart? That's in that setting the stage for business, setting the stage for transmission, setting the stage for converting pain into power, or creating value out of experience, right? So, actionable steps. Heal your self-worth. Number 2, heal your energy. Number 3, create the energy, the emotional frequency of faith and excitement and positive expectation to prepare the way for creating whatever it is that you want. And number 4, do the actual foundation laying. Coach your clients to get ready for whatever it is they're wanting to be invited into, or whatever it is that they're wanting to respond to or create in their lives. And it's kind of a nice flow sheet here. If they're not following through on it, I'll lay money on the fact that they're either burned out or they're struggling with self-worth. Now, next week on Tuesday in the coaching challenge, I'm going to talk about 9 core archetypes that include self-worth and energy, but more. 9 core archetypes that get our clients stuck, and things we can do to get our clients unstuck. And this is, of course, relevant information for some of you as well. So we're going to talk about what do we need to do to get ourselves unstuck? What do we need to do to help our clients get unstuck? And then how can we use these 9 core archetypes to improve our resiliency and be resilient during times of transformation and change? When we have disruptive cycles, if we have that resiliency skill set strong and shored up, we'll be able to face change with resilience and be able to use it, to leverage it as a powerful transformational catalyst. All right, that's it for today. More concepts, more thoughts about actionable steps. Next week, as I said, sign up for the 7-day Quantum Human Design Coach Challenge. Next week on Monday, we'll get started and we'll talk about the science of alignment and why getting your clients aligned and you aligned is so essential for creating well-being and for creating the matrix, if you will, for your clients to have accelerated progress through their work with you. Have a good Monday. Have a good week. Take good care of yourselves. I'll be here back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking more about, I forgot what we're talking about on Tuesday. Cindy, post what we're talking about tomorrow on Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I think we're going to be talking about your coaching practice. We'll talk about structuring your coaching practice. That's what we talk about on Tuesdays. And then Wednesday, we'll talk about marketing by design. Thursday, we'll talk about human design, quantum human design, and coaching topics. And on Friday, we'll be back with the little process of finishing up. We've been talking about the life purpose template. We've been looking at the sun. We've been looking at the earth. We're going to be looking at the moon next week and the nodes. On Friday, we'll be looking at the moon and the nodes. All right, you guys have a great week. Bye.